Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Marathon, day 20. Today we're taking a look at Ant-Man and the Wasp. In every phase, there seems to be a dud. What I mean by that is a movie that's kind of disappointing. Like in phase 1, it was Iron Man 2. In phase 2, it was Thor the Dark World. And unfortunately, phase 3 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Which sucks because phase 3 has been kicking ass so far. All I wanted was this film to be as good as the first one. And we found out we're finally getting a lead female superhero. You know, the MCU is a sausage fest. And the Wasp is one of the founding members of the Avengers. So I was excited to see a team-up movie, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to see Ant-Man and the Wasp fight side by side and do crazy stunts just like they did in the cartoons. But in this film, unfortunately, you know, the whole plot, it revolves around getting Janet Van Dyne, who's the original Wasp, from the quantum realm, and throughout the movie they just play hot potato with the building. And the bad guy Ghost, she wants to get Janet first so she can like suck up all the quantum energy from her body. It's a ridiculous premise, and I thought to myself after watching the film, like, this is the best they came up with after 3 years? This is the best story they can do? Come on, guys. And phase 3 was all about creativity. You know, we had Doctor Strange, we had Black Panther, Guardians. We've seen a lot of cool stuff, but I'm afraid that this film is pretty mediocre, which is very unfortunate because it came off the heels of Infinity War. So people were like, you know, they were riding high, and then, you know, we just wanted a fun film, you know, to feel good about ourselves after, you know, the tragic events. But it was a letdown. What saves the movie is, you know, Paul Rudd's performance. He comes back as Scott Lang, and he's just more likable than ever. He's doing 2 years of house arrest due to the events of Civil War. He's learning magic, and his daughter comes over, and, you know, all that stuff is great. And Luis, he comes back, and he has like a little action scene, and he's still doing a great job. My favorite bit is that he wants a suit, which it doesn't necessarily need to have powers. He just wants a suit so he can look cool. Like, that's basically us, the audience, you know, talking out loud. And he's great. And then we get to the Wasp. In the first film, she was always angry that she couldn't get the suit. And now she got the suit. And she's great when she's fighting and doing action. It's fantastic. But the character herself, it's just kind of like a wet mop, you know. She's mad at Scott in the beginning because of what happened in Germany, which is understandable. And then she gets over it and starts making puppy eyes at him again. And then she's like, she has two flavors. It's like she's either, you know, angry at Scott or annoyed by him, or she's just worrying about her mom. Those are her two settings for the character. Not much is known beyond that. And, you know, I really want to like the Wasp because, again, you know, strong female characters, we need those. But also, you know, we need likable characters as well. But again, all her action scenes are great. My biggest complaint is the movie's called Ant-Man and the Wasp. They're a duo, and you rarely see them like team up and like do stuff together because Scott's suit is malfunctioning throughout the movie. You know, they play it for a lot of gags, which are funny. You know, this movie is pretty funny. It's kind of like the closest thing we're going to get to a sitcom in the MCU because it's just a lot of jokes and a lot of charm, and that's what saves the movie from being a total drag. But man, I just wanted to see these characters just work together and become like a duo, like a Batman and Robin type thing, and I never got that, which sucks because the freaking title is Ant-Man and the Wasp. We also had the villain Ghost. You know, she could have been very interesting because she's suffering from like molecular decay, and she's phasing in and out of things like Shadowcat from the X-Men, and she's always in pain, and she needs this energy to save her life, pretty much. But she's going about it the wrong way, because she's working with Bill Foster, who used to be Hank Pym's assistant. So he knows about quantum science, and the whole conflict with Ghost could have been solved by a phone call or just having a talk. Hank and Bill, they should have just came up with a solution together instead of fighting each other, which the fights are great, but it's just a conflict for the sake of conflict. This could have been solved in an easier manner. And then Bill Foster, in the comics, he's known as Goliath, which is a dude who can grow super big. And when I heard he was cast in the role, I was excited, because I was like, oh man, we're going to get a freaking kaiju fight in the MCU. Goliath versus Giant Man. This is going to be sick. But he never suits up as Goliath, and it's a bummer. I thought he was going to do it, because it would have been super stoked to see that fight. Unfortunately, I have like a better version of the movie in my head, but it just sadly never came to fruition. A lot of the side characters from the last movie get sidelined, like T.I. and the Russian dude. They're dealing with like a security startup company, which, it's great, but that stuff's way in the background so much that you don't really care about it. And then Scott's daughter's mom, and daughter's stepdad, they're fun to watch, but they're only in the film for like 5 minutes. But it's nice to see them progress and be more supportive of Scott, especially since, became a superhero after all. And Hank Pym does a good job. Michael Douglas, he's always great. Well, another thing that bothered me is he's the one that goes into the quantum realm, but he said in the last movie that the Ant-Man suit took a toll on him. So I would figured shrinking even smaller than an ant would probably mess him up. But it's never addressed. But that's just a small nitpick. And then you finally get Janet Van Dyne, who's in the quantum realm. The biggest WTF of this film is they find her alive and well, and you have no clue how she survived down there for 30 years. They don't even give like a throwaway line to her. They're like, oh, well, you have to adapt down here, blah, blah, blah. It's crazy. I think a more interesting movie would be to see what the hell she was doing for 30 years down there. And it's just the story of this film just revolves around the quantum realm so much that we barely get to see it. We barely get to know about it. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp should have been in the quantum realm doing like some freaky things, going on adventures. But alas, they find her, and then all of a sudden she has like this power to fix this ghost's phasing. She fixes it by touching her head. Like, she uses the E.T. fingers. All of a sudden she's cured, temporarily at least. And it just goes to show these two freaking scientists had talked. There wouldn't be a need for a fight. But we do have a third party. We have the infamous evil white guy in a suit. He shows up in this film, and he wants to make money off of Pym's technology. So he's after the lab. And my theory is they just needed some bad guys for Ant-Man and the Wasp to beat up. That's their only role in the film, because they're a blank slate. And Walton Goggins is a good actor, but they waste him here as well. And man, I just really let down by this movie, But the important thing is they set up where Scott Lang is for Avengers Endgame, and he gets trapped in the quantum realm. How does he get trapped in the quantum realm? Well, you're just gonna have to find out tomorrow. But overall, what saves this film is the charm, Paul Rudd, some of the comedy, and the action scenes, which it's very light on action. The two action scenes they do get are pretty fun to watch. But yeah, hopefully if there's an Ant-Man 3, they'll step their game up. That's all I want. And we finally come to part one of the epic conclusion, of Marvel Cinematic Universe's Infinity Saga. That's right, fellow MCU fans. We're going to finally watch Avengers Infinity War. It has all been leading up to this. Thank you for watching.